welcome to the very first episode of Riding the Wave, soon to be musical podcast on my life moving forward as a music school dropout. It still kind of feels weird to say out loud. I'm 25 years old and I've been in school my entire life. And it has always felt like I've been striving to achieve something for somebody else. And this is the first time I'm moving on my own accord and my own will, I guess. Let me not say own will. No one has a gun to my head and telling me that I have to finish college. I felt that way in some ways. Just natural pressures coming from a single mother, and a very chaotic, kind of broken household, and feeling like, okay, I have to do this. First gen things. I'm sure many of us out there can relate to it. And even though I'm saying goodbye to music school, I just cannot say goodbye to music. I can't. This is unfortunately this is what I'm supposed to do to some degree. And also connect with people. Music and connecting with people it's my way of life. It's just how I've navigated the world. And this podcast, I want to be about bridging those two things together. Connection, experience, life, and music. It's been my mode of expression for such a long time now. And I feel like I've learned a few things here and there. And I'm sure there's a lot of things you all can probably teach me. I'm just ready to kind of embark on a new point in my life as a 25-year-old. When I had turned 25, which was just October, I was still in school and I was drowning. I'll tell you that much. I was drowning. I think I mentioned this. I don't think I did. I have ADHD and I didn't get my diagnosis until 2 years ago. And navigating that is hard, to say the least. It's hard. I sat down and I was thinking to myself, what do I want 25 to 30 to be like and to feel like? Do I want to spend another second trying to make something work that just doesn't? I just felt like there was a better use of my time in general. And as an adult trying to thrive in America's economy, trying to stay above water and being a full-time student wasn't cutting it. And also doing it with unmedicated ADHD, because Lord knows medication is very, very, very expensive. It just wasn't in the cards for me. And I've radically accepted that. And I'm okay with that. And I'm going to disappoint some people. And that's okay. Sometimes disappointment is okay and necessary to put ourselves first. And it's taken me a really long time to figure that out. And now I'm 25 and I want to share what I have learned in my years of music school and my years of life and relationships and just whatever it is that feels necessary to bring up in this podcast. I just want that journey to feel accounted for and for a community of people to be there with me if you so choose. So yeah. My intention with this podcast is to share my passions, my musical opinions, and to talk about the enriching and wondrous amazingness of music together. Sorry, my vocabulary isn't great. But yeah, I want us to to write that together and to share good music. And to talk about deep things and vulnerable things and hard things. Neurodivergence will probably be a big one, but so will other things. And I think me just starting this podcast and doing it is the most important part. Obviously, this is the very first episode, and there's still so much that we have to learn about each other. And maybe down the road, I can learn more about you too. I live in Florida. I'm from Florida. I grew up here. and I've been here my entire life. I mentioned it a little bit previously, I think. I got my start in the church, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, getting their musical start at least in the church. And coming from a single mother household and a very dynamic, chaotic kind of family, music was sort of that chillness. I don't know. It just felt very natural for us, and it's just how we connected. And we weren't screaming at each other when we were talking about music or singing it or creating it in some way or form. But yeah, that was a huge portion of my childhood growing up, at least the most pivotal in what I could remember. My mother was a singer, is a singer. And when I was 7 years old, she found out that I could carry a tune. Do not let a Black mother find out that you can sing. Because from then on, every family gathering, every friend visit, every opportunity, if she was just bored, Anissa, come in here. Come in. Sing this for me. Every single time. And looking back, I'm grateful for it, because I think now it takes a lot for me to perform and sing in front of people. And it's been that way for my entire life as a musician. But in those moments, I felt like she was really proud of me. And I think I've been chasing that for the rest of my life. Sorry, we got a little deep there for a second, but it's true. It's true. I think that's at least the blossoming of my love for music. It started there and started with my mother. And it spread across my entire family too. When I was in the church and people were just so emotional and getting really into it, and it was such an experience every Sunday. It was so much every single Sunday that you just couldn't help but just love it. You couldn't help it. It gave you chills every single time. Gospel has that kind of effect. I can't really describe it. Anywho, that's where I got my start for music. And as a single mother, there was very little that my mother could invest in when it came to extracurriculars or after school programs. But when the opportunity came, she pushed me to perform. And I can go back as early as, I want to say it was 2nd or 3rd grade. There was a school talent show, and I signed up for it. And it was the experience. There was a cafetorium, a bunch of 4th and 5th graders that intimidated me, and faculty staring at me. It was terrifying. But this was just the audition process. But I remember going on the stage and looking out, trying to scan the audience, trying to find at least one face that I recognize. I didn't. And that morning, I remember keeping my little CD, my burnt CD that I had burned Reflection from Mulan into, because that's the song that I chose. I handed them the CD and they played it over the intercoms. And I just remember kind of blacking out a little bit because it was such a brand new feeling to perform in front of that many people. It was so brand new. I couldn't tell you what was going through my head. It's probably because it was damn near 20 years ago. But it got a positive reaction. And I was like, maybe this is something. Maybe we're cooking with gas. Maybe we're cooking with something here. I don't know what accent that is. it was a feeling that stuck with me for a while. Needless to say, that talent show ended up getting not canceled, but it got canceled for the kindergarten through third or fourth graders because they wanted to have more room for the fifth graders that were going to be promoting to middle school. So when I got that announcement, I was a little bummed, you know. I was looking forward to it. I was preparing for it. My mom had this not the most culturally appropriate outfit for me to wear for the performance. Not to my discretion, by the way. I was a child baby girl. But, you know, we were excited about this and it was a whole thing. So when they canceled it, I was a little bummed. However, one morning I was arriving late to school and there was essentially like no one in the car rider line, save for a couple of teachers. And I get out and they ask me like, oh, are you Anissa? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. Oh, well, you have to go to the morning announcements. You need to go over there right now. And so I go into this part of the school that I've never been through, in this studio-like place with, you know, big lights. And, you know, it's what you would see every morning for morning announcements that the fifth graders would do. And I was like, what am I doing here? And I found out that they were going to have me perform for the morning announcements. There was a few other talents as well. And that was so disorienting. that was a lot. That was a lot for my second grade heart to handle, because I showed up ready for class and they're like, no, you're going to sing for the morning announcements. So that's what I did. I sung for the morning announcements, Reflection from Mulan. And I think it went well as a second grader can do. But I had arrived back to my class that day and I was just swarmed with so much love and positivity from my friends and my peers. You know, because at that age, that's primetime television, baby. That's a big deal. It's a really big deal. So I felt like hot shit, low key. But again, that feeling stuck with me through till middle school. But that age is a little different. Your preteen years, and you know, it's a lot. While there was more opportunity for me to do creative arts or performing arts, as being in a single mother household didn't exactly allow that to happen. Lots of fees that goes into it and payments that goes into it that, you know, wasn't possible at the time. So it was kind of like I was on the outside looking in for a decent portion of middle school. But I still try to stay involved. I tried again at performing for the talent show. And it was my 8th grade year. I chose to sing Crazy by Gnarls Barkley. A cappella. Very brave. Very, very brave of me. And I remember we had a guest judge. His name was David Oliver Willis, a contestant from American Idol that was from the town that I'm from. And he came in and I was just a wreck. I was so terrified. I was like, this is going to be bad. This isn't going to be good. I'm going to throw up on stage. Fast forward, I ended up getting first place. And I remember feeling really proud of that. And it was, so memorable having my parents there. And they're not together. As I mentioned, my mom's a single mother. But they were there. They were both there, my mother and my father and my stepmother. And it was amazing. And it's just such a pivotal point because I just tried at something and it worked out, and there was like a reward, right? Hello, dopamine hit, first case of it. I chased it after that, for sure. And during middle school, the high school band came to perform. And that's when I was like, yeah, I need to do band. I have to do it. So my sophomore year, I start to play the clarinet. And I didn't know a single thing about reading music because I didn't get any lessons or any classes when I was in middle school. I didn't get the chance to because, as I said, instrumental rentals are crazy. But I still tried to get in where I could, when I could. So fast forward, I ended up moving to a new city with my father, and band was possible. It was possible now. And so I picked up the clarinet and I committed to it. I didn't know anything about reading music or fingering charts, when playing in general, embouchure. There's so much that goes into playing. It's crazy. And it was so intimidating, but I was determined to learn as much as I could with the options that I had, as much as humanly possible. And so I got lessons. I practiced every day, and it was, so sorry to my father and my stepmother who had to sit through that, but it was very rewarding at the very end. And I ended up, towards the end of my high school career, was like on leadership, and I did I was band captain and clarinet section leader and blah 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 blah. I'm realizing this is starting to sound like a brag, but I want to give you some insight to what I do now and things about me. So I apologize. That's not what this is supposed to be. I just love music, and yeah, I've committed to it for the greater portion of my life. Anywho, it followed me to the point, it was good enough to get me into music school, into a top music school at Florida State. And everything changed. When you go out into the world for the first time, really, when you've been so dependent on others for your entire life, it's very disorienting, and you really have to proceed with caution. If you have mental issues or you are neurodivergent, you should meet with caution. Ooh, my gosh, I'm bumping into this table. Sorry. You should meet it with, not with, I wouldn't say caution, but tread lightly and be forward. No, be cautious and be forward. Be cautious and diligent. That's the word. Be diligent about your mental health. Oh my goodness, that's so important. If you have an inkling that you have ADHD and you're starting out in college, do everything you possibly can to take as many resources from that college as possible. Because usually they do. Usually they have a lot of resources. But just do that, all right? I have to say that. Because the start of my college career was pretty good. It was pretty good. I think it was day 3, though. It was pretty good, and then I say day 3. In my music theory class, day 3, I think I was so lost. After week 1, there was nothing that I knew anymore that was going to help me. Like, there's your basic stuff, like how to read music, like rhythmically or sonically, treble clefs, things of that sort, note values, all of that. After week 1, it was counterpoint in different modes and alto clef and all this other really weird stuff that I'd never seen before. It's like I was reading hieroglyphics. It was difficult. And my unmedicated ADHD brain, and even though I didn't completely know it at the time, I had an inkling, but I didn't completely know it, I was this was a lot. That was a lot for me to handle. But, you know, I pushed through. I ended up passing the first 2 years of my classes. Maybe save for one. Possibly. And then 2020 took place, and we all know what happened then. COVID. Haha. We all have our little COVID stories or our own ways of how we handled it. I don't think anyone was equipped to, that's for sure, but it certainly had its mental toll on me. Trying to teach myself something as someone with ADHD is just, it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out. So moving forward, and it just became too much. I took a break from school after my junior year, and I focused on songwriting, and I was able to write and had produced a song. So shameless plug by Oriah River. Delusional is the title. Lost Connection, shameless plug here. Check it out if you so please. They're my very first songs that I've ever written ever. So bear with me, but I think they're pretty good. And did I say Lost Connection? Did I just say that? And Lost Connection. Delusional and Lost Connection by Oriah River are the two songs that I have out there. And it's what I created when I was taking a break from classes. And I think while that was some of the hardest points in my life, because I didn't know what to do myself outside of school at that time, I still had re-sparked this like feeling that I hadn't experienced since I was a kid of writing something and being proud of something that you made from scratch. And I took that feeling with me, and for maybe the third or the fourth time that I changed my major, I went back and I wanted to try commercial music, audio engineering. I took a few classes part-time. I wanted to tread lightly going forward when I was like in therapy and on medication, etc., etc. I wanted to tread lightly, and I took my classes part-time. I did a reduced course load to accommodate my mental health, and it still didn't quite click for me. It was really hard. It was really hard. And from that point on, it felt more like an obligation because I was already like 3 to 4 years into it. But then, you know, when I had turned 25, I was like, I can't spend any more time doing something that makes me so unhappy. And now I'm here. And now I'm here with 2 songs that I've written to my name and a podcast. So I'm very curious to see where this all takes us. As I learn more about my place in this world and what I'm supposed to be. It's hard learning to love yourself through everything when you just want to beat yourself up all the time. But I'm healing that inner child, and I'm staying in touch with her and staying consistent. We're going to try to stay consistent. This is going to be a test to that for sure. So if you're seeing this, I'll give myself a pat on the back for that because I actually did something. But yeah, going into 2026, our word is going to be courageous. Courageous is the word for 2026. It's the year of the horse. We just got back from the year of the snake. Lots of shedding. And in my case, I shed it away at school. And this is about taking leaps and being diligent about our dreams and goals and accomplishing them and doing whatever means necessary to get it done, even if it isn't perfect. It's about striving for progress, not perfection. There's a whole lot of self-talk that I do here. So that's what this podcast will be. It'll be navigating those things about neurodivergency and mental health and how that connects with music and how music has been the mode, for me at the very least, to channel these lessons and learn, and my creative outlet, so this is my creative way of holding myself accountable and just unifying more people to come together, because I'm sure I'm not alone in this. I'm sure I'm not the only one that has felt lost when it came to college and ADHD and creating music. That's another hard thing. And just staying focused on it. It's really difficult. But there's so much that I want to share and I want to connect with people on. I think we can do that together. And if you even made it this far, thank you so much. I super, super appreciate it. I hope it was satisfying to some extent, and you're interested in coming back for a second episode. I really want to be able to dive into cool music together, and music degree or not, just how you connect with it. Maybe send over your favorite song recommendations if you have any, and let's dissect and talk about it and get into the history and the nitty-gritty of the wonderful world of music, because I think music's important. But this was just a little introductory video to give you a taste of who I am, and it's giving me an idea of how this is going to go. But regardless, thank you for riding this wave with me today, as disorganized as it may be. But I hope I see you at the next one. Thank you so much for listening. This was Riding the Wave with Oriah River. Bye.